Jordan Peterson and Carl Jung spoke to an unconscious monster. And this unconscious monster is not something that can be controlled by the mind or journaled out or ignored. For somebody that has suppressed their instinct, for someone who wants to become a good moral member of society, they suppress a monster inside of them and they pretend to be nice. They adopt all of the cultural niceties that you need to be on par with your fellow man. But underneath all of that, there's a raging beast of a human, someone who, if backed into a corner, would gladly throw your neighbour under a bus. And we saw that over the lockdowns. We saw people turning on each other for whatever reason they felt justified for, a self-righteousness that came from within themselves, that they knew better than anybody else, and they were willing to do anything to avoid dying, anything to avoid being held accountable, anything to avoid being seen as someone who wasn't being obedient. And this is the monster that Jordan Peterson speaks about in the gulags. This is quite common in spiritual communities and in the workplace, where you'll find someone that you know gets your hackles up, pisses you off at some level, and you don't speak to it. They could be passive aggressive, they could be completely inauthentic in what they really want to express. They hold back their anger. Part of them you can feel that just wants to choke you, wants to take you out, and they don't embrace it. Why don't they embrace it? Well, most likely because they'll go to jail. But underneath all of that is a raging monster that does not know how to be expressed and controlled. And you see this raging monster come out in vengeance, in divorce, and sometimes separation, where your partner will go completely feral, right? One minute you know them, next minute you don't. They're threatening you with all kinds of illegalities and taking the kids away and all of your resources. And in that feralness, there's a monster that's been brewing there from the get-go that you ignored. You ignored maybe because you were too drunk, maybe you were too stoned, or maybe you just were so oblivious to your own relationship environment that you let it slide. You just wanted to be loved by someone, even if they had a monster inside. So this monster is in everybody. It boils down to you as an individual, whether or not you want to look at it. And if you haven't faced this monster inside of you, then at some point it'll snap. And until an individual can embrace the monster in themselves, it's a ticking time bomb. It's waiting for it to go off. So if you're someone that believes that you do shadow work and you do not know what this monster is, you're kidding yourself. So if you're someone who wants to embrace who you really are, you need to have a look at this monster. And this is a skill set that requires understanding the human condition from the highest to the lowest, that there's a carnal nature in you that's primal, that's evolved over millions of years of survival, and that still exists in you, it pumps in your veins. So trying to live a caged life of a suit and tie and going out to dinners and lunches at your favourite restaurants, driving a nice car, wearing jewellery, this exists and is real. And if you want to keep ignoring it and sweeping it under the rug, sure, keep on doing it. But I assure you at some point it will come for you. It might not come at you, it might come from you.